Hey everyone, I'm Lex, and today we have Is It Josh?
Hi.
He is an independent pop punk artist and content creator, and we're here to basically just talk about his career, his newest album, and also a little bit about the importance of mental health. So I guess we can go ahead and get into the questions. My first question, you actually got your start as a content creator. So of course I want to ask you about that. How did that kind of lead into music and kind of fully turning into an artist?
Yeah, so I've been in bands kind of my whole life, and right around what was it, 2018, when things started getting weird,
Yeah.
I had this band that put out a single, and we got like 1 million streams right away. And I thought, oh, this is my break, finally. I was I think 28 at the time. I was like, it's happening. And then, COVID hit and shut everything down,
Oh my gosh,
and the band
yes.
broke up, and we couldn't tour on it. And so I kind of thought this is it. Like it's over for me. I was turning 30 and I was just like, well, I tried my hardest for the last 15 years. And so I started making content and it just happened to be right during that emo resurgence.
Oh
So it
yes.
was like right
Love
place,
that.
right time. Yeah, I just showed up and I was like, oh, wait, it's all trending around like things that I like. So it just took off r really fast and kind of like way too fast. Like I think some of my early videos got millions of views, like before I even really
Wow.
fully understood TikTok.
Yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah, so I did that for about a year and then I was like, you know what? I need to make music again. And then it became this challenge of like convincing my followers that I was a musician? Like I'm like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, like this isn't new to me, guys. Like I've been doing this, but I just. So it was a hard time to shift back to being, a musician and not just a content creator, but ultimately worth it in the end.
Yeah, well, I love that. Like that's kind of it reminds me how like sometimes, like you think something that happens to you is bad. Like I guess you saying the band breaking up and all of that stuff, but like what could bad in the moment things lead to? And it
Yeah.
looks like it's led you to a pretty great place today.
Yeah, all those things that kind of happened back in that era, I was viewing as like, oh, this is the end of this and this is the end of that. And it really just led me to this life that I wouldn't trade for anything.
That is awesome. I love that so much. So, my next question is still kind of in this same ballpark, but basically, how has your background with creating kind of shaped the way you approach your music and also the promotion? Because you are an independent artist. So, I feel
Yes.
like a lot of that falls on you.
Yeah. Yeah, I started, well, I made a band when I was like 14 with my older brother. And
Oh,
back
cool.
then, like I was already, I had one of those, what were they called? 8 millimeter cameras that you'd like walk around and we were trying to make like little videos with each
Yes.
other and stuff. So I learned video editing pretty early in like a very like kindergarten level. I wasn't doing
Yeah.
anything magic. But it just kind of carried on and I started just being more and more creative as time went and more bands, and that led me to always being like the marketer of the bands that I was in.
Mm.
So I had to promote us on Face or MySpace, and then
MySpace.
yeah, then the YouTube era came, and then there was Instagram and like the dreaded Facebook era that all the
Oh,
bands went
yes.
to die, where we would just spam Facebook event invites,
Uh-huh.
you know.
Honestly, I think Facebook is still like the dreaded platform to have
I
to learn.
just started posting on Facebook to try to like do something with it, but it's an afterthought.
Yeah, like I've tried to get with Facebook too with my stuff, and I can't do it. Maybe
I
one
know.
day we'll come back to Facebook,
Yeah, and
but
even the
today's just
people
not
who
the day.
engage with my stuff on Facebook, my Instagram followers and like TikTok and my fan base, they're also nice and welcoming and safe. And Facebook, they don't know me. So like I'll post something very vulnerable and people will be like, "Why is this on my feed?" I'm like, "Okay, sorry. I've been doing this for years, guys. Sorry."
Yes, Facebook can be so mean.
Yeah.
So mean. Like it's just a different type of people that are on like TikTok, Instagram, and then Facebook is just like you just go there to get heckled sometimes, I feel
Yeah,
like.
100%. You gotta
It
have
is
thick skin.
yes. Yes, you do. So, I guess still kind of going off this a little bit, what was it like to kind of build your own audience without like major label backing, taking care of everything? And how does it feel to know like hey, my like 170,000 TikTok followers, my 70,000 Instagram followers, like I did that myself. How does that feel?
It's rewarding and it's validating. And I think my whole life I've kind of sought like validation from other people. You know, like I'd write a new song and I couldn't just sit with it and I'd have to send it to my friends, be like, guys, listen to this, you know. And now this new chapter has very much been like, okay, well, I'm a solo artist and I'm doing all of this by myself. So these wins, I'm kind of celebrating myself, you know, and it's really
Mhm.
brought this perspective of like, oh wow, I can do this without four other people in my band or without all this backing and stuff. And sometimes I get myself into trouble, you know? Sometimes I do things that are just completely unobtainable. Like I'll set a goal and there's no one there to be like, hey, that might be a little out of reach, but I'll do it
Yeah,
anyways and I'll try my best. So it's ultimate freedom, but it's also terrifying, you know?
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
just
it
because there's,
is.
if anything goes wrong, it's like it's just me to blame. But then in the same light, if anything goes right, it's like, okay, yeah, I did that. So
Yeah,
it's very, yeah, up and down, but I love it.
yeah, I completely get that. That's the thing with like doing everything yourself. It's like if it's really good, then it feels great, but if it's really bad, then it again kind of feels like one
Yeah.
of those end of the world, I'm never gonna recover from this
Yeah, and I
moment.
struggle to stay in that like, oh, things are okay mode. Like it's either got to be like things are great or things are like everything's ending. Like
Yeah.
my last post flopped and my career's
Oh,
over, you know.
yeah. Ne again, never gonna recover from this. I might as well just give it up. But then you kind of like come to your senses, I guess, once you have like your pity party or
hmm
whatever. And then I think things kind of start to, I guess,
Yeah.
make more sense. And you're like, oh, wait, you kind of come back to your senses. And it's like, no, it's just life. Sometimes
Yeah.
the algorithm works against us. It's not because I didn't do anything good.
Yeah.
It's just, modern
I think those
technology.
pity parties are necessary if they're handled the correct way because you kind of need to burn out or feel disappointment in some way to really like take a more broad look at what's going on and be
Yeah.
like, you know what, things are fine. The reason this video didn't do well is because I didn't try very hard on it, like or whatever. So it's just
Yeah.
yeah,
Next, we can kind of shift into your latest album,
yeah.
which I have been listening to a lot.
Ooh,
I love it. Like, you're definitely my kind of music. Like,
awesome.
I love a lot of different types of music. Like, I never say I'm just going to listen to one genre, but one of my favorites, love the pop punk, alternative rock kind of combo you've got there going on.
Yeah, just
So,
mashing it all up
yes,
together.
I love it. So, a collection of short stories about the heart is the title, and it came out in May. Am I
hmm
correct? Yes,
Yeah,
it
May
came out
30th. Yeah.
May 30th. Okay. So, first of all, I guess I just want to touch on what made you come up with this album title? And were you like, sometimes I hear people are scared to do like lengthier album titles because they're like, is it going to catch on or anything
Right.
like that? So, how did you come up with the title? And how do you, I guess, approach taking quote unquote risks when it comes
hmm
to things like that and just trusting your instinct with it?
Yeah, the whole album was kind of a risk, all the way from like the title to putting 18 songs on it to including like a screamo song at the end and spoken word in the middle. It's all over the place. And it truly came from, not having a place for my fans to binge me. If you went to my
Mm,
Spotify before this album, it was all fragmented into singles and EPs, and you couldn't really just put my music on. It was just jumping all over the place. So I really wanted to make a place where people could sit down and listen. And I really write narratively and I write about what's going on in my life. And it's very personal to do that sometimes, but it's also very cathartic and it's a release, it's
mm,
therapeutic. And so over the course of like the 2 years that I had written this album, it was kind of being written while I was, um, falling in love, moving to a different city, getting my heart broken, having a mental health crisis, and like this whole story just kind of unfolded in a way that I didn't think it was going to. And that's when I kind of went through them all, and I was like, "Dude, these are really telling the story of what happened to me over the last 2 years, and it all does involve like my heart." And so that's kind of where it came. It was like these are all just really a collection of short stories about the
yes.
heart, and then we just ran with that. And my first EP was called Chapter One, and I'm very into literature and reading and stuff. So
Same.
I really, yeah. So I really just like the idea of kind of keeping it in that vein of like the world of literature, I guess.
Yeah, well, I love that. That definitely shows. I mean, I will say, like, when I was listening, it definitely does feel like each song is like its own story, but like they
Yeah.
still all kind of come together.
Yeah.
And everything that you were going through that makes sense about like all the different like themes on the album, the different sounds of the album. Like, I
Yeah, you
love when just all those little details like that come together on the
Yeah,
album.
I always joke about how the album at like you start listening and it's like, oh, I'm feeling kind of flirty and sassy and like maybe I'll
Yeah.
get into the dating scene a little bit and I'm kind of feeling myself and then like it goes on like, oh, I'm in love. And then by
Yeah.
the end of the album, I mean, you are just devastated,
Right? Yeah, you just want to scream along with that last
Yeah,
track.
yeah. So,
So, I guess I kind of now I want to ask you like how does I'm sure you have like a DIY creator mindset going into
mhm.
everything. I'm sure that just naturally comes to you by now. But how does that show up with the storytelling in this album?
It that's a great question. It's part of why I wanted to make this a visual album and make so many music videos for it. But just the way I write, sometimes it's poetry, sometimes I'm just journaling, sometimes I'm writing a short story, and that will just suddenly become lyrics, I've obviously got to
Mhm.
like change phonetics and things like that to make it flow.
Right.
But most of these songs and stuff, the creative process came from journaling, going to therapy, like things I would talk about. And I'm like, this would make a good song. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's kind of where all the DIY creativity came from. This is like, it truly wasn't like I sat down to write a song. Like
Mhm.
a lot of these times it was just like, no, I'm just writing, I'm just processing something. And then I would, turn it
Yeah.
into a song.
That's really beautiful. I love that. So that kind of like serves as a good reminder and also to like anyone watching, like not everything has to be intentional.
No,
Like some
not at
things
all.
can just kind of come together. So like, you mentioned just journaling or even stuff you would say in therapy, like not that everything has to be turned into something productive, but
Yeah.
it could be, and it could also be a good outlet,
Yeah.
to kind of channel any feelings or emotions that you just need to work through. I
Yeah, when
like
I
that a
first
lot.
started releasing that type of really vulnerable stuff that like did come from my journal or things like that, I was very nervous, but my fans and my listeners like they've always validated me through it and I'll get messages and comments like, "Oh, this song, I feel like you wrote it about me." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not the only one who's who's going through
Yes,
this."
I definitely felt that way listening to your stuff too.
Awesome.
What is, and it's okay if you have more than one, but just the
Yeah.
question is if you had to pick, I guess, one song that you're the most proud of, or if there's multiple songs, feel free to say those too.
Yeah, the one I'm most proud of is my piano ballad, I Used to Dream. Because
Good
I
one.
work with two songwriters. They're my best friends in the world. I grew up with them in Omaha, and they co-write most of my music with me. And that was a song that like no one else put their hands on. It's like I showed up to the studio and was
Hmm.
like, this one's all me. So that one I'm very proud of. But as far as my favorite song on the record goes, it's one that kind of stayed under the radar a little bit, but it's called Not Over It. Um,
Another
and
good
it's
one.
yeah, I just love like the pop rock feel. It's got like a very
Hmm.
interesting vocal melody in the verse that could have been very simple, but we complicated it to just make it more unique. And I
Yeah.
love how it just explodes into these like falsetto chorus hooks. I don't know. Everything about that song just feels like what I want my music to sound like, I guess.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
good. Well, I'm telling you, that's a good one to think that about because I enjoyed that one
Thank you.
too. Absolutely. So now, I want to give you my top three from the album.
Yeah, please.
Oh, and then if you have any stories, I guess, about the process of writing and recording these, feel free to talk
Yeah.
about that as much as you want. So, first one was People Pleaser.
Mm.
Loved, loved, loved it. Absolutely loved it. The next one was Tony Hawk. And
Oh
then
yeah.
that was so cool. I loved that one. And then Gateway Drug.
All three of those great picks. Great
Loved them
picks.
so much. I mean, I really did. Like, I loved so many more, but like if I had to pick the top three currently, that's what they are.
and it's funny because Comfort and Venus are their names, and Venus she was listening to me and Comfort write People Pleaser, and that came from a note at like a voice note at like I think
Mm.
I did it like I think the timestamp says like 1:30 a.m. I was half asleep. It's just like you hear it come on, you hear my like loud box fan in the background. It was like she's a people pleaser, never leave me. And then I woke up. I was like, what is this? Uh,
The next
but
hit.
yeah, yeah, and then we put it together, and it was funny because I do know who I wrote this song about, but I tried to keep it pretty open so more people could relate to it.
Yeah.
And me and Comfort were trying to write these lyrics out, and it was so funny because Venus is just cracking up because we're singing about this girl and like these experiences she's having, and she's like, "Who are you guys writing about?" Like, like who grew up on the other side of town? And I'm like, you wouldn't get it, but no, that's one of my babies. I like
Yeah.
People Pleaser.
That's a
Tony
good
Hawk was
one.
fun. That was about like me struggling with just like parasocial relationships and stuff like that. There was a time where, you know, a lot of my followers started kind of like dictating things for me. It was a very
Ooh.
strange period. In fact, I'm
Ooh.
wearing a snapback backwards right now. And a good example of this is like a couple people made a comment. They're like, wow, bro really wears snapbacks still. And
Oh
I
my
stopped
gosh.
wearing them. I stopped wearing them for like 2 years, and I have like 100 snapbacks. I used to collect them, and I just stopped wearing them because of these comments. And people would talk about cutting my hair, and that I still was wearing skinny jeans and stuff. And that song came out from me being just like annoyed. I was like, okay, you
Yeah.
want me to be something I'm not? Like, okay. Like,
But like that's so real though. Like talking about how like the comments just make you stop doing it. Like that is so real because
yeah,
the
they think we don't read
internet,
them.
yeah, like I but like the internet, like I have a mixed feeling relationship with the internet because like it can be really good but it can also really suck and
Yeah,
what you just mentioned is definitely a downside of that. I don't know why people feel so comfortable saying things in comments, I guess because the screen, they're behind the
yeah.
screen, but that's a real thing. Like, I mean, even just as a smaller creator like me, like I still get stuff like that
Hmm.
sometimes. But I mean, I try to just delete like
Yeah, yeah. I'm pretty good at hitting that hide button, hide
yeah, yeah,
comment, you
yeah.
know. There's sometimes I'll clap back if I'm
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
yeah, I will clap back if it's too out of pocket or if it,
Right.
if it's just like a private profile with like a sports team as the profile picture, like I'll probably clap
Yeah.
back, you know.
Yeah.
But that song is truly also about like how they'll talk about you in your comment sections, but not to you. So be like, oh,
Yeah.
this guy really. I'm like, this guy. I'm like, you're leaving a comment on my post. Like, what do you? You're talking about me.
And it does seem to be like it can be a little bit more intense when it comes to like unfiltered comments towards artists. I feel like they always get like the more harsh end of people. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know
A
why they,
subjective art form is so bad.
yes.
Yeah, I just released a music video for watching anime, and that is a spoken word song that talks about some really dark topics. And it's just like it doesn't sound like the rest of my album. And I was posting
Yeah.
it on Instagram, and I got all this great feedback, like, oh, I love this one. It's so artsy. Is this? And then this one guy comments, he's like, song is trash in like all caps. And I was just like, I hope your day gets better, man. Like, what? I could never
Yeah.
imagine scrolling and then being like, oh, this person worked really hard on this. I'm gonna all
Yeah.
caps real quick and just let them know it's trash before I move on with my night.
Sometimes a way I try to reframe stuff like that is okay, like this person had nothing better to do today
Yes.
other than attack me.
Yeah.
But I will say though about watching anime, and this is like a compliment in the highest form, I have never heard a song like that in my entire life.
Oh,
And like seriously, and that is a good thing. Like that is 100% a compliment.
that means the
I
world.
enjoyed that so much. It was one of your videos that Carrie Ann had emailed to me to watch. It was actually the first thing I watched of
Okay.
you. And I was like, this is
What a
cool.
first
I
impression.
know. I was like, this is cool. And like even just like I was also so like entranced by like the living room setting. Like all of
Mm.
that decor was
Her
like
living room is so cool. That's my best
awesome.
friend in the world. And I was like, I need to steal your vibe. She wasn't even going to be in the video, but at one point she's like, should I just be in this shot? I was like, yeah, dude, let's just have you in it.
Cool. Yeah, so she like not only volunteered herself and her time, but also her living room. That is a good
Yeah,
friend.
she's my best friend in the world. Yeah, we actually moved to Philly together from
Really?
Nebraska. Yeah,
Oh,
we
that's
both kind
nice.
of started doing content creation at the same time.
Cool. So
Uh,
you have someone kind of a little bit
yeah,
along on the journey with you. That's
yeah.
awesome. So now this is kind of going to your 18 self-directed music videos about every song on the album.
Yeah.
That is such a like ambitious but amazing project to like want to take on. How did this idea start and like what finally made you say like, yeah, I want to do this. I don't care if it's hard, whatever. I
Yeah,
just want to do it. How did this idea come about?
it's one of those ideas where a label would look at me and be like, absolutely not.
Yep.
Like, we let you do 18 songs, we let you keep watching
Yep.
anime, you're not doing 18 videos. But in my head, it was like, gosh, this is such a narrative album. And it's like, I want to make this more visual. And not only that, but we live in an era where you can't really release an album and expect people to listen to it. Even my
Yes.
favorite bands will release an album and I'll listen to it once and then pick my favorites and move on, you know?
Right.
And I'm guilty of that too. So I really thought to myself, like, okay, when this album dropped and, the singles got, tens of thousands of streams right away, but the B sides, like watching anime, Life of the Party, and all these other songs were getting like 1,000 streams over the
Mm.
course of like a month. I was like, oh wow, like I really didn't get a lot of people to get to the end of this record. And that's when I was like, well, I'm gonna give each one of these songs their own just like chance in the spotlight, even if it's just a little visualizer or whatever. Like each one of these songs I feel like can hold up on their own. So I was like, how can I do that in a age of reels and TikToks? And that's where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
ahead and just do 18 music videos. And I think, I don't know how to do it, so I bought a camera and I was like teaching myself how to use it. And it's very evident from my first video to watching anime like how much I've learned over the course of all this. And yeah, I think as time has gone on, I've realized like the weight of the tasks that I just took on myself. So I think like it will shift to more like some are going to be visualizers, and
Oh
some
yeah.
might be B-roll type of stuff that I just think is moody and cool. I think
Hmm.
and that's part of it is just being fluid and not being too hard on myself and being like, listen, you might not be able to do 18 fully produced music videos with actors and storylines. Like that's fine. And you might be releasing new music while these older videos are coming out, and that's
Yeah.
fine too. Like there are no rules to this. The labels would say there's a rule, like you can't promote
Right.
the song. You have a new song out. This one's from 3 months ago. Like I don't care. It's got a cool video now, so it's coming.
Yeah, that's the beauty of not having a label, I feel like. You
Yeah.
get to do what you want and no one's shutting you down.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, because I don't think that I could handle that stress either of just having someone like, hey, notice you didn't post a TikTok today. I'd be like, yeah, didn't feel
Yeah.
like it.
Yeah.
Like,
Life got in the way. Like it'll have to happen
yeah.
in a few days or
And that's the thing too
whenever.
about being so online is people don't really know what's going on behind like outside of what you're posting.
Yeah.
So there's months, where I'm dealing with these really intense things. It's like I can't deal with social
Hmm.
media right now and people will be like, "Oh, you fell off or this." I'm like, I'm actually just like dealing with something very important in my real life and I will be back. So,
Yeah, no, that is, I feel like that's definitely something like everyone thinks that about anyone who has like an online presence. Like if people went on my page, they would think, oh, all you do is hang out at record stores and drink
mm,
coffee. And it's like, no, that's what I show you.
yes,
That's what I
exactly.
show you. But
Yeah.
really, like, that's like probably 30% of my life. The
Uh-huh.
other 70% you don't even know. So it's
Exactly.
easy to kind of like lose that like perspective about people with social media.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely again that like love-hate
Yeah.
relationship for
I think that's
sure.
why it's important to talk about it and just be candid
Yeah.
about it sometimes. There's been times I've just turned my camera on and I've told my followers, like, hey, I'm struggling. I dropped the ball. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to try to come back and I love you all.
Yeah.
Goodbye. And they all show
Yeah.
up in droves. Like, it's okay. You're, like,
Yeah, but see
they're all,
that's
I got,
nice that they're
yeah.
supportive.
Yeah, I
That's
got
nice
really
that you have
lucky.
that. So like it seems like those people, the supportive, kind people, they seem to outweigh the why is this dude wearing a snapback type
Yeah.
people, it looks
Yeah, they're
like.
the reason I keep doing this.
Yeah.
I'm in my mid 30s now, so I constantly have this like this internal battle, which only comes from myself. That is just like, why are we still doing this? You know what I mean? Like, all like, should
Mhm.
I go back to the corporate world? Should I be like looking to buy a house right now? Like, what's going? But those people like who truly care, the Gloom Squad, shout out the Gloom Squad, like my Discord, they keep me going and like they are so supportive and motivational, and it's almost like when I started this, I was doing it for myself. Like this was totally a selfish project. Like I want to do a solo project, but now it's like it's become more like this is for all of us. Like
Yeah.
you guys have been supporting me for so long now that like it's like I won't accept anything other than success because I want it for all of us, you know.
That's beautiful. I love that so much. So I guess now would be a good chance to kind of shift into the importance of mental health side
Yeah.
of the interview if you're cool with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So obviously you are a big advocate for it. What made you, I guess, want to start being open about it in your career? Like, was there a moment where like you thought, yeah, I think I need to do this or I feel comfortable doing this? How did that part of your, I guess, career and journey start?
Yeah, it came from when I first started posting on TikTok. I had just gotten out of a 10-year relationship. Like it was
Wow.
a big shift, yeah. And
Yeah.
so I was living on my own for the first time. Like I really didn't have like a massive friend group, and like I had it was just a very uncertain time. And when I started posting on TikTok, it very much was just like sketch comedy. I was just like making jokes and stuff. And I was just having a really awful day one time, and I felt like I was in this cadence where I was posting every day. And what I did is I posted a video that was like salvage a bedlocked depression day with me. And it was just a
Mhm.
like a time lapse of me like getting out of bed at 5 p.m. and making dinner and cleaning my apartment, taking a shower, and putting my show on. And that really resonated with people. Like, wow, like
Mhm.
it's nice to know someone else did this. And so I started being like, okay, maybe this is okay. Maybe this isn't a trauma dump because I didn't want a trauma dump. Um,
Yeah.
and then yeah, my content just more and more became this place where I was finding more and more people who were okay with this conversation happening, and I would mix it in with my jokes and my sketch comedy and stuff. And that's ultimately what just led me to be a more open person as well, like in real life. And like that's what led me to get back into therapy and like reevaluate like what I was doing with like my meds and things that, maybe some
Mhm.
diagnoses I got when I was super young and just said, yeah, that's what's going on. So it wasn't just about like talking about it and like trying to raise awareness, but it was also me helping myself by doing it, you know?
Cool.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think it's very important, especially for like men my age. Um, Men's mental health is just, I mean, we talk about it like once a year, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely, it has this, for some reason, it seems to have a stigma around it.
It does, and I've kind of,
Don't know why.
I think that like men right now have a lot to make up for, There bad history there.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have this like predisposed notion towards men, right? And I think that right now most of the men that I talk to in my life and that I have in my life are not okay. Like even the ones that I would
hmm
think are okay will open up to me because they see how open I am about it. I'm like, oh man, I thought you had it all together. And so really it's like
Yeah.
the guys aren't all right now. So if
No.
you got some
No,
men
they're
in your life,
not.
maybe throw them a quick little like, hey, you doing okay? And
Right.
you'll probably see what I'm talking about. So
hmm
it just feels like once I opened that door, uh, I couldn't close it again. And
hmm
it's just like I'm just gonna stand for it, even when it gets a little vulnerable, even if it's me tearing up and crying a little bit in one of my videos. Like it's just gotta be seen. It's gotta be
Yeah.
normalized. Otherwise, we're not gonna make any progress.
Right. Yeah, it takes that level of, I guess, vulnerability. And it probably takes a little bit of feeling uncomfortable initially, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure this was something that you were like, should
Yeah.
I kind of do this on the internet or whatever that way? But it definitely it I think that it is needed. So
Hmm.
I love that you're doing this. It is much needed. And I don't know really, I guess, why that. it's like this way about men's mental health because I just think of it like, you know, that is just a people thing.
Hmm.
Mental health needs, like, that's just people. All people
Yeah.
can can need help. I don't know
I think
what
that
has it messed
especially
up.
men my age and maybe a little older and a little younger dealt with parents that dealt with parents that were like mental health, you're just shy, you're not
Uh-huh.
anxious. You know,
Yeah,
I
the
remember growing up.
generational.
Yeah, when
Hmm.
I had my first panic attack in kindergarten, and I remember it vividly. Like that was a panic attack, and like my
Hmm.
parents were like, "Oh, he's so shy," and clearly, I'm not a
Yeah.
shy person in the slightest.
No, you don't
And
seem
so
like it at all.
yeah, and growing up, like you're just told so many times, like shove it down, shove it
Mhm.
down,
Be
shove
a
it down, don't let them
man.
know. Yeah,
Yeah.
even things like I would get hurt, I'd fall and roll down the hill from our chicken coop and I'd, have a bunch of scratches and like it was very much like, what's broken? What's broken? And I'm like, nothing. And they're like, oh, you're fine then. And so
Yeah.
you deal up with this like be a man
Yep.
mindset and it's hard to break that down,
Yeah,
Even
for
for someone like
sure.
me, it's hard to break that down.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's awesome that you recognize it and you're
Mhm.
raising awareness to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's what it takes. It takes people like you, I think, to hopefully end this once and for all, even if it does take,
Yeah. It's slowly
years,
happening. It's slowly
months,
happening.
whatever.
I'm seeing
Progress is
some of my
progress.
friends get into therapy that I never would have imagined
That's
would get into
awesome.
therapy, which
That's
is huge
awesome.
advocate for therapy. I think that it's one of the
Yeah.
most important things you can do. Yeah.
Agreed. Completely agreed. So now, what's one thing, or even multiple things? It doesn't have to be just one thing, but something that you wish people knew or understood specifically about music artists and mental health.
Yeah, this one will be personal. This is one I don't really talk about that much. So when you're looking at a solo artist, I remember back before I had kind of blown up on social media and had all this stuff, like if I saw a K after someone's follower account, I just assumed this person is rich, this person has no problems, this person is famous, And then it wasn't until I got the K behind my follower account that I was like, oh, this means nothing. And so I think that regardless of how successful you think someone is, like typically the struggle is always there. Like, we're not making money from our music. We're not making money from tour. We're not making money from anything. We're paying for every single song that comes out. And like in the midst of this, we're also taking a massive risk being musicians. Like, we are in a competition to become something that is so coveted, a successful musician.
Hmm.
It's like harder to be that than it is to be in the NBA.
Yeah, it
And then on top
is.
of
It
that,
is.
niche down into like a post emo world. And
Hmm.
it's just like, I think, like industry metrics put me on like these like software we use, like puts me at like 2,500 in the world for pop punk. And you would think like, oh, wow, that's such a great accomplishment. But in the end, it's like, 2,500 is not good enough. You have to be like top 100, top
Oh,
200
yeah.
to even get 2,500 people into a venue. So the competition is fierce, it's stressful, and just don't assume anything based off a follower count and what things look like because behind the scenes, it is so stressful monetarily. Career wise, you're giving up a lot of things. Like I said, like I should be like looking for a house and looking at my 401k, and I was going down that
Oh.
path. I was so corporate. I was the director of marketing for a medical staffing agency.
Oh,
And I threw it
wow.
all away. I quit and I was like, I'm gonna do
Hmm.
music. And they were like, you're doing what now? And I'm like, yeah, I'm leaving. It's yeah, I
But
think
that's
it's
beautiful
yeah,
though.
it is
I love that.
beautiful. Yeah.
Clearly, it's paying off. Clearly. I
Yeah.
mean, you
The
got the talent.
uncertainty is there, but the freedom overtakes it. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I really like that. I think that's what a lot of people forget. Like,
Yeah.
you may be sacrificing, like, the safety and security of the 401k and all of that stuff,
Yeah.
but you get this like freedom in
Yeah.
return. So, and I
Yeah,
mean,
like
I always think like you can always go back to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like if it just
yes.
doesn't work out, I mean, that
I can always just go to another
yeah.
company and say, "Hey, can I market for you?" And they'll look at my
Mm-hmm.
resume and they'll say, "Absolutely."
Yeah, like that's always going to be there. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you completely, throw everything away.
Yeah, totally. And it's just I've always lived kind of a counterculture mindset. So anytime I can do something with my
Hmm.
life that is not normal, like I'm all
Yeah.
in. Because
Same.
yeah.
Same. I feel like pretty much any like pop punk or emo fan would probably have that same mindset going on.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
totally.
like now this question kind of just came to my mind hearing you talk about sometimes the struggles of being an artist. Like you said, sometimes you're paying out of pocket for things or
Mhm.
like tours or just streams aren't like cutting it in terms of
Mhm.
needing money. So that is actually one of the biggest reasons why I started wanting to collect physical media, specifically
Yeah.
vinyl records, because buying that vinyl, you know, typically they're $30 minimum.
Mhm.
I feel like that is going to help an artist out a lot more than just
Tremendously.
pressing play
Yeah.
on your phone. So, like, can you kind of, I guess, just explain to some people that are maybe like on the fence about kind of buying physical things? Doesn't even have to be media, it could just be merch at the
Oh
booth,
yeah.
at a show. Like, just how much does that help you guys kind of make a living?
Yeah, I will be so transparent on this one because I think it helps, especially with Spotify being the way they are right now.
Oh my gosh.
Boo.
Big
Yeah.
time.
Uh,
The
so I have about on the Is It Josh catalog, I have about 2
Mhm.
million streams. And from that, I think I've made $2,000 over 3 years from 2 million streams. Now you think about 2 million single sales. If you were to buy singles 2 million times, that's
Mhm.
nearly $2 million, 99 cents a single, you
Yeah.
know. So the difference is millions that we've
Yeah.
lost now because of streaming. And Spotify pays out about 0.007 cents per stream. So you'd have to get 7 streams to make a penny. But in order to get on Discover
Mm.
Weekly, Release Radar, Daily Mix, you now have to sign up once a month for something called Discovery Mode, which allows you to
Mhm.
go on there. But when you access Discovery Mode, Spotify takes an additional 30% of your royalties. So they take that 0.007 cents and then they take 30% more from it to let you get on Discover Weekly. So you're just streaming has destroyed artists. It's destroyed artists. I will make more money in one night selling hoodies at a show than I have made in 3 years on millions of streams.
That's
So
just so awful. Like I knew it was bad, but like I didn't know the like math and technicalities of it.
that's the math behind it. Yeah.
That's
A
horrible. Like
seventh
I
of a cent if you're lucky. Yeah.
what's even the point? Like honestly, like I mean literally like I truly think everyone should just like pull from streaming because I
Yeah. I know.
maybe
And it's one of
that'll
those
show
things, it's
them.
like, gosh, you want to pull from it so bad. And I see these established artists who have pulled from it, especially
Hmm.
for political reasons, which I totally agree with. But it's like, I can't do that. If I was to pull my music from Spotify, that would
Hmm.
be the death of my music career because I just
Yeah.
don't have that security yet. So I hate that they've trapped us in
Hmm.
there. So
They
yeah,
were
anything
they
you
were
can do to get
sneaky.
artists untrapped, like
Yeah.
buying merch and physical media.
Yes. Yes. So
Yeah.
you hear that, guys? Whenever you go to a show, don't look at the merch booth
Yeah.
and make a face at the prices or anything because this is literally how your artists
Yeah.
make a living and can come to your city or just
I was selling double-sided hoodies, which I still have on my website. Shout out my website. Uh,
yes.
I have these like double-sided hoodies that cost a lot of money to make because they're
Hmm.
double-sided
Yeah.
hoodies. Like it's
And
not,
the hood, more
yeah,
material.
it's and they're really great material, and I made sure that they were like extra black, like they're super dark. Um, and I was selling them for like I think $60 or $65 or
That's
something like
honestly
that.
not that bad for a hoodie.
No,
I've
because
seen
the
way more
people, yeah,
expensive hoodies.
I've seen 75, 85, and I said, I'm gonna
Yeah,
do 60 or 65
even
for this tour.
90.
Yeah. And someone came up to me and they're like, hey man, I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm like, oh, thanks so much. I was like, did you want to buy some merch? And they were like, bro, you're not under oath. And I looked at him, I was like, what? And they like pointed at my hoodie. I was like, it's double sided. He goes, you should lower that to 45. Like, brother, I about paid $40 for each one of these to be printed. Like,
45 is like t-shirt
I
price.
know. And that really, I'll never forget. That threw me off bad that night. That took me from like salesman Josh, like making jokes about how there's no microplastics in my shirt or my
Oh,
hoodies, to like some random man just being like, you're not under oath, dude. Like, what are you doing? I was like, I don't know. Trying to fill my gas tank so I can make it to Nashville tomorrow.
Trying to eat, like
Yeah, I've got a band to feed.
people to
Yeah.
pay, like
Hmm.
wow. Okay, so people like that, like that's just the kind of people you just can just look at them and that's it. Like I don't
Yeah,
even
I
know
didn't
what
even
even
know
to
what to
say.
say. I didn't know what to say.
That is not a bad hoodie price at
No, I think
all.
it's pretty
At
fair.
all.
Yeah, I'm like, they cost, I had to pay for those up front, and they're
Yeah.
expensive to print. And that's the hard thing is like when you print merch, you don't know how much people are gonna buy, especially for a tour. So it's like you have to print more
Hmm.
than you might need,
Right.
and then you're left with a bin full of double-sided hoodies when you get home.
Oh man. Well, I mean, you just never know. I mean, lots of people maybe they don't want it at the show because they're just focused on the show, but like I know sometimes like I do always buy like at least one merch item at a show because I
Same.
just partly because like I want to, but also because I don't have any self-control when it comes to artist merch,
Yeah.
but like
I'm wearing a Youth Fountain shirt right now.
oh, nice. I love that. That's sick. But like I don't I don't even know like how to explain it other than like sometimes I'll get like the basic thing, which is usually a t-shirt, but like I'm so like either excited or just focused on the show or like getting to my seat on time, not missing the
Hmm.
opener. And like if the merch line's long, I'll just be like, yeah, I want the shirt and I'll leave.
Yep.
But then I'll come home and I'm like, wait, that hoodie was nice or that
Yeah.
poster was nice.
I
And then I'll go
appreciate the
on the
posters. I've never
website.
printed posters before. And part of that is because one of my biggest weaknesses is I'm not a designer. Like,
Mm,
I'm not a designer. I cannot make cool designs. Like, I always have to outsource it. So that's something I
nothing
need to
wrong with
get better
that.
at. That's like one of my like skills that I just don't have. I'll send a
Yeah.
design to one of my designers and they're like, we're not, this can't even be, they're like, this can't be printed. Like, what do you, it's like 12 colors, They're like, are we going to do
Oh,
12 colors or are we,
yeah.
yeah. You want to do
Yo.
pastel watercolor paint on your hoodie? Like, that's not going to work. I'm like, all right, what do you want to do?
Hey, look, everyone has their strengths and weaknesses, so it is okay. It is totally okay. But now, so we kind of like were talking about importance of mental health, and then we talked about the importance of buying physical merch. But
Hmm.
now I kind of want to shift back a little bit to the mental health thing, but
Hmm.
specifically with your songwriting, I guess, and your artist process or whatever you call
Yeah,
that. So like whenever you're creating something vulnerable, which is pretty much almost everything
all
you
the
do,
time. Yeah.
yeah. Like how do you decide, I guess, what you're ready to share with the world and like what needs to stay just for you? How do you balance that and decide?
It's it's a line I toe. It helps having my two best friends like in the studio with me, but they don't really touch my lyrics too much.
Okay.
They might call something out phonetically, but they
Mm-hmm.
just let it go. And I remember watching anime. That one was like the most vulnerable song I've ever done. And my buddy was there who is a musician, but he was not part of the record. He was just there hanging out. And I had to record that in front of him. And that's the first time I had really felt like exposed. I felt like I was standing there
Oh,
naked. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because it's
yes.
like suddenly my producers weren't just there. There's like another guy here, and I'm about to just like
Watching.
ramble on about like having a panic attack and a fake
Mm.
monologue. And so yeah, I don't know. It's I I think that as long as okay, here's a good example. Typical.
Or
Typical was probably a little too dark, right? So it's a song about me lamenting about like what is it like to be neurotypical. I was asking my dad like, have you ever had anxiety before? And he's like, I once had to get up and give a speech and like my heart was racing. And I was like,
not
okay.
the same
Yeah.
thing.
I was like, imagine that, but it's because you woke up?
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes. Or like
Yeah.
because you had to go outside.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, and so I wrote this song called Typical. It's about wanting to like want to know what it's like being neurotypical. And there's nothing positive in that song that I wrote. Like it is me like just ripping myself apart. And I send it over to Kellen Quinn and I'm like, "Yo, can you do a second verse on this?" And it's so funny because in my head that I had normalized that so much that I didn't even think about how dark that song was or how sad it was until Kellen sent me his verse back. and it was like all about accepting yourself for who you are and like realizing that like life is a little more difficult when we're like this, but it makes us unique and things like that. And he sent that back, and I was like, wow. I was like, I didn't realize what I was doing with this song until you came in and put your positive spin on it. And so
Yeah.
I think that was a moment where I might have like not romanticize it, but just let it go a little too far. Like there was no resolution. It was just like,
Mm.
this is just bad. Like I want to be neurotypical and I don't like this anymore. And he kind of came in and saved that. And I think that he gave me a perspective for the rest of the album where it's like, maybe slip in a little positivity here and there. Like it's not
Yeah.
all bad, you
Yeah,
know?
you kind of answered two questions in one because before it was over, I was going to ask you what it was like working with Kellen Quinn.
Oh, Kellen was a dream. Yeah, I had actually reached out to a few other artists,
Mhm.
and one particularly he strung me along for like a year.
Oh no.
And so Kellen was like a last minute. I was like, Kellen, listen, dude, I
Hmm.
know you do so many features and all this, but I was like, if you have time for one more, and he's like, yeah, totally. And then someone in his family actually got sick, and then he still like he recorded it the next day, like after he got out of the hospital with them, which I thought was
Wow.
wild. But no, he was great. It's always nice to have an artist that big and that prominent that's willing to like share like after they're done doing it, like put it on their story and like so it was nice. He really promoted
Yeah.
it, and I don't know. Kellen, I sing very high, you know,
Oh
and
yeah.
it comes from listening to like Kellen and Anthony Green and
Hmm.
like people like that. So it was just kind of a full circle moment. And then to have him just put a positive spin on one of my saddest songs was the cherry on top.
Yeah, that he sounds like a great guy for sure. And the way that he kind of turned the song around, I didn't realize that that was him. Like I didn't know if like, you wrote the whole thing and he just
No.
sang, but he wrote his verse.
Yeah, and looking back, it's almost embarrassing because in my head I was like, this is who I am. I'm vulnerable and I sing about this stuff. And it just doesn't like at first it used to bother me. And like to answer your earlier question, like it just doesn't bother me anymore. Aside from watching anime in front of my friend, like
Hmm.
whatever comes at me, and
Yeah,
it's
I love
fine.
that mindset though.
Yeah, and having him kind of, it's funny looking back because it's like I didn't warn him at all. I didn't give him any direction. All I said was, "Yo, if you could just hit the pre-chorus with me, I'll harmonize on it." But then
Mhm.
he ended up stacking like six harmonies of him by himself, and I'm like, I'm keeping the Kellen harmonies, man. I'm not even gonna like,
Yeah. Wow, that's just cool how that came together. I just had to think about everything you said just
yeah,
now, but that's really nice. That's just a great thing, I guess. Like it's like you said, when an artist like him on like his level just can still kind of give you their time or like chooses to give you their
yeah.
time, you know?
And it was such a
That's really
nice
nice.
change of pace. Like after dealing with like other artists who kind of like gave me the runaround or let things go
Yeah.
on too long. Like I think, I met Kellen when we played a festival together and we just talked for a little bit. And one of the first things out of his mouth was like, Josh, congrats on all your recent success. I was like, dude, what? You're so nice, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, it felt like I should have gone to him first, to be honest. Like,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, it was the right fit.
Well, it ended up right.
Yeah,
That's really all
totally.
that matters is
Yeah,
that it
totally.
comes out right in the end. So now, this next question, this is gonna be, do you have any, I guess you could call them personal rituals or habits that you do and help you when things get overwhelming?
Yeah, actually. Um, breathing.
Mm,
Breathing. So for me, a lot of my anxiety and mental health stuff like embodies itself as physical. And that's something that I've always
yeah.
struggled with because people be like, "Oh, I'm anxious, my thoughts are racing." And a lot of times it's like my thoughts don't exist, but my
Mm-hmm.
body is in full fight or flight. And like, why?
Yeah.
I don't know. I woke up and I just feel like the world is ending. Um,
For no reason, really.
for no
Sometimes there's no
reason. Yeah,
reason.
and it's something
Mm-hmm.
I've always struggled to relate with to people because I'll be like, "Oh, you have anxiety too?" And they're like, "Yeah, my mind." And I'm like, "Ah, what about your heart?" And they're like, "No." I'm like, "Okay." You know.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Yeah, there's been
yeah,
multiple times like I deal with that as well, like that physical aspect of it. There's been multiple times where like I'll go to my mom and I'll be like, I truly think I'm having a heart attack. Like I
it's
will have convinced
terrifying.
myself in my mind like I'm 23 and I'm literally having a heart
Y-
attack.
Yeah, it's
It's
terrifying.
bad. It's really bad.
I've ended up in the hospital a few times. Too, like because over the years, I unfortunately, got with the wrong psychologist, or not psychologist,
Mm,
psychiatrist, who kind of just like loaded me up on
yeah.
so many medications. And that's kind of a problem. Again, men's mental health is the book on men's mental health that all these psychiatrists are still studying and practicing was written in like the 70s or 80s, and it was lobbied by the pharmaceutical companies and written by the pharmaceutical companies. So really
There you
they learn
go.
in school, like, if it's a man, if they're angry, sedate. If they're sad,
Yeah.
antidepressants. If they're
Hmm.
anxious, sedate. And so I just was sedated and I didn't realize
Yeah.
how bad it was. And so, yeah, that's another thing that's just so wild to me. And how switching to therapy to talk about these things and work on actual things like breathing exercises, maybe getting some sun on my face and going for a walk,
Hmm.
saying things out loud. Like, I will catch myself in like a negative thought spiral or just feeling, I'll be like, nope. I'll say it out loud. Like, nope,
Yeah.
we're not talking about ourselves that way. And I'll say it,
Stopping
as,
it.
yeah, and I'll stop it. And just, you really you can't rely on pills. You can't just rely on a doctor to be like, here's an antidepressant. You're gonna wake up feeling better. Like, you have to put in the work.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
yeah,
I completely agree. That's
yeah,
kind of been my experience as well. Like literally just before this interview, just to like calm my nerves, I sat out in the sun with my
yeah.
cat and like it worked. Like
I
I
was
came
doing breathing exercises like 5 seconds before I clicked join. I was sitting here going,
really? Yeah.
yeah, because if you have found out, I have a. Actually, I can grab. I have this necklace, right?
Oh,
And I
cool.
wear it all the time. And what it does is it lets you breathe in through your nose like a,
Mhm.
and then you blow out through this. And
Oh,
it
neat. So
takes
you focus on
exact,
the exhale.
yeah. And I get lightheaded when I try to breathe on my own,
Hmm.
like do deep breaths. And this helps me. So that exhale takes exactly 7 seconds to get through that necklace. And if you breathe
Oh.
in for a shorter amount of time than you breathe out, your heart will slow down. It's because when we breathe in, our heart speeds up. When we breathe out, our heart slows down. So do that for a minute or two, and naturally your heart rate will just start to slow. You start thinking about what you can hear, what you can smell, what you can feel. And a lot of times that's what really sets me up to like go in some, like if I'm going into a concert, like you'll catch me doing
Hmm.
that in my car,
Yeah.
beforehand. And yeah.
That's great. Honestly, see, I didn't know like that specific of the technicalities. So I love that
Yeah.
like we were both doing like little
Yeah,
calming
I've had
tunes
to
before
though.
we
I've
came
had to
into
get
this.
so in depth into like the science behind it because my brain just wants to understand what's going
Yeah.
on, whether that's to my detriment or not. It's like, okay, yeah, you're anxious, and I'm like, okay, but
Hmm.
why?
Yeah. Why? It makes
Yeah.
it less scary, I think, when you know why. Because
Hmm.
like I'll notice like from my own like personal anxiety, like if I know the reason I'm having anxiety, it doesn't freak me out as much. But if
Hmm.
it feels like it's for no reason, then
Yeah.
I'm like, what in the world is
That's
going
the
on
worst because you're like, I can't
with
shake it and I don't know what it is.
me?
And sometimes it just is like, it's so easy for me to shut my blackout curtains and like put on headphones and just take a nap or something to make it
Yeah.
go away. But lately I've been trying more to just like call a friend and be like, what are you doing? Do you want to
Mm-hmm.
go get coffee, go get lunch, go do something? And
Yes.
9 out of 10 times, if I'm feeling super anxious and I go meet up with like a good friend to just do nothing, like I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
leave less anxious than I was
Yeah.
before we met up. So
For sure. That's so good. Like that's a really good, like healthy coping mechanism.
yeah.
Those are so important. I'm kind of the same way. Like sometimes I'll like if I just say stuff out loud to someone, it's like the feelings, whatever, they just
You're
kind
not
of
holding
go
it all into
away.
yourself anymore.
Yeah.
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 Especially when you have people in your life that are like, that can validate you in those
Hmm.
moments.
Some really good tips. So, just for everyone watching, recommends breathing, specifically having you said a shorter inhale than the exhale.
Yep.
Yep, so the exhale is most important.
Hmm.
Going out in the sun.
Get
Um
that sun on your face. I know
get
we're
that
all
vitamin
emo, but
D.
like, come on. Put the sunscreen on the tattoos and go out there.
Yes, yes, yes. And then also if you can, go out and do something kind of chill and low key with a good friend.
Yeah, isolating is not it. Sometimes you like
No,
to, just have a day to yourself, but that
but
will
not
stretch on.
forever.
Yeah,
Not
especially when you're
forever.
self-employed, that
Oh
can stretch
yeah.
on to be a week,
Uh-huh. Yep,
Yeah.
I relate as well. But that was really good. I think that's going to help a lot of people. So now
Yeah.
that we kind of got through some of the things like that and mental health, we can kind of shift into, I guess, a little bit more lighthearted, kind of funnier questions to kind
Yeah.
of close. So the first one is like, do you have a like this is kind of chaotic, but it's too funny not to tell moment that happened from like performing live or content creating, anything like that?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So there's one moment. There was uh we so every band runs off of tracks, right? Most bands, unless you're like a hardcore band, it's a click
Hmm.
track. And so in my
Right.
ears I hear like,
Hmm.
and every now and then it'll be like, Josh, course start now. But and so I won't miss my cues. And there was like a power flicker that happened. It was just a micro power flicker. And like we all got a half count off from the tracks, and we knew it because it went like all of a sudden it was going like like it was just not right. And our drummer Trevor, shout out Trevor, he is a machine. We looked back at the videos. We don't know how it happened because it wasn't us. It was all Trevor. He just kind of like glitched for a second. Like you see his he went to go hit the hi-hat and stopped for like a half second and then hit it. And we were just back on. And we went to the house we were staying at because we're on tour and like we're watching the video. And we're like, Trevor, how what happened there? Like, how did you get us back on? He's like, oh, I practiced the set, like a half count off, a full count off, so that I could find different ways to get us back on in case it would happen.
Wow.
And I'm like, Trevor, I didn't practice at all. Like, but yeah, that was one of those
Oh,
behind the
wow.
scene moments that I don't think anyone noticed, but like we were all up there having heart attacks because the chorus was coming, and if you're a half count off, it's a train wreck. So
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Wow.
sometimes like I'll get an unstable stage. I was jumping around too much and I knocked over just from jumping up and down. Our table collapsed that holds our laptop. So
No.
our track stopped and my guitar player Comfort turns around to Trevor, who's his brother, and they just finished the song out staring each other in the eyes. And my mic wasn't working anymore. So I leaned out into the crowd, and luckily it was like one of my most popular songs. And I'm just grabbing on everyone, and we're screaming in each other's faces. And at the end of the show, everyone's like, "That was so cool that you like ended it like acoustic, like just guitar, drums, and you." And I was like, "Yeah, totally planned,
Yeah.
totally planned."
That is so funny. Don't you love that? Like when again, it's kind of like when things happen that you
Yeah,
think it's just there's no way this is gonna be good, but
yeah.
then they turn out to be like some of the best, most beautiful moments.
It must be what like people who play sports feel like after their best game, where they can go talk to
Hmm.
their teammates and be like, "Yo, when you blocked that ball, like
Yeah.
it's one of like we get into the green room, we're like, I'll be like, oh my God, Kayla, like you just that harmony you hit was so good and Comfort, you were nailing that. It's very much just I love that so much. We kind of had like the
Hmm.
post game summary after every show, you
Oh
know,
yeah, I
and
like
it's nice to
that.
have like people I really trust up there, like Venus, Comfort, Trevor. They're all professionals, and so like I know if I accidentally knock over the table and everything stops playing, like Venus is gonna go put that back together and Comfort and Trevor are gonna lock in and like we're it's
Yeah.
fine. It's just fine. There's yeah,
Well, they all sound great and super dependable.
wonderful
And
people.
shout out to all of them, and especially Trevor, and honestly, just drummers everywhere. Because
Yeah,
don't like drummers, they kind of responsible for pretty much like
the
most of
whole
the
show.
timing.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
yeah, and I've been drumming. That was my first instrument. So I've been drumming since I
Oh,
was
cool.
10. Yeah, and I
Nice.
didn't start singing in bands. I was drumming in bands until I was like 21. And so I'm very picky when it comes to drummers, you know, because it's like my best instrument. It's what I'm most confident on.
Hmm.
And so finding
Makes
Trevor was
sense.
great. Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's good. So now this one, I don't know if this question is gonna make sense, but like it makes sense to me. So
I'm ready. I'm
if
ready.
it doesn't make sense to you, that's okay. But like if you had to pick like one song from a collection of short stories about the heart, like if one song you had to pick could like become like personified or like come to life, and and then they were like a person that you had to like hang out with for the day, what song would you want to hang out with or spend the day with?
Probably, probably down bad. So,
Oh,
down bad
that's
is
a good one. That's a
down
good
bad
one.
is kind of like a funny
Mm-hmm.
song. It's very lighthearted and the whole song is literally, there's no hidden undertones. It's
No.
literally about being down bad for like an Instagram model. Right. And
Yeah.
just being like, I'm a demisexual man. So like I usually have to like meet someone first and like get to know their personality and stuff. And I remember
Mm-hmm.
I just had the biggest crush on this person I did not know. And like nothing else mattered. Like my mental health be
Right.
damned. It was fine. It was just like I just was like in love with this person. We are like
Truly down
messaging.
bad.
Yeah, I was down bad. And like I had all these like other interests and like people who were interested in me that were like near me. And I would just blow
Didn't
them
care.
off. Like I had
Didn't
no idea.
care.
Like this beautiful person is like saying like they really like me and this stuff, and I wouldn't even pick up on it because I'm like, no, there's this girl. She's out in wherever state she lived in. Like
Yeah.
we've been messaging, you know. And yeah, that was just such a fun time in my life because like it just felt so unserious and like all these serious things were happening, and that was just such a like however short-lived our little internet fling was, it like it really pulled me out of like kind of like some dark places and stuff. So I think that person would be fun to hang out with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. Well, that's a good answer. Cool. I was like debating on whether I should ask you that or not because I was like, what if this like
No, it's a great
makes sense to
question.
me, but like I
No,
don't
yeah, that's
know.
a great question. I'm like literally imagining all the people who each one of my songs is. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Everyone
like
else is
who
too
the
much of a
songs would
bummer.
be. Yeah, maybe. Maybe, but I don't
Joshville
know.
too would be interesting. Like
Yeah.
a alternative
Mm-hmm.
kind of
That'd be
country
a fun
emo
hang
man.
for
Yeah.
sure. You could go to like a line dancing karaoke thing and then
Go to
go
like
to
a
like
dive bar and
yeah.
put on Pierce the Veil on their touch tunes. You know,
You
what I mean? I
you
love
have
going
like
to
a
like a
two in
country
one.
bar and changing the vibe.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So I'm glad I went with that question. So
Yeah.
now, I want to ask, if someone is going to start a physical media collection, whether it be cassette tapes, CDs, vinyl, whatever, it's just physical media. What's an album that you think is like a must-have in a collection?
Ooh. Oh, that's such a good
Or
question.
even more, you can say more than one, but
You know, I'm kind of skewed because I have all these really old famous records from my grandpa. Like some of the original Beatles records and stuff I've got like tucked away in a crate. So if you can ever
hold on
find
to those.
I know, and they're in horrible condition because my
Oh
grandpa
yeah.
abused them, but like it's fine, you know, I have them. So I think
Hmm.
like those classics are just so nice to have. Um, I'm trying to think. I think anytime that there's an album that comes on two, like it's such a long album. There's like the A album and the B album, and they both have their own artwork on both sides. And I'm trying to think. It's funny because it's one of my favorite bands, Circa Survive. I'm trying to think what their last record was. It was like Sleep, something about sleep. But they put
Oh
out
yeah.
two two albums, and that is my favorite record because you they've been working with the same artist who's designed like all their album art and like opening that up, getting the liners and seeing like the lyrics and just all this beautiful art and like each vinyl came like with a you could get like a different colored one, like you could choose your set, I think. And so I think some people tried to collect all three.
Nice.
I think,
Yeah.
yeah. I think whatever is just if you like an album, go listen to it on vinyl. Get it on vinyl
Mhm.
because there's something about not being able to skip. I mean, you can cheat it. You can,
Yeah, you could, but it
you
takes
can
a lot
cheat,
of work.
but the vinyl on, sit down, light some incense, and listen
Hmm.
to it as it's meant to be listened to.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's my
Agreed.
answer for that.
That's great. That's a good one. And then a song that you wish you wrote.
Ooh, that's a good one. Um, let's see. A song I wish that I wrote. Mm. You know what comes to mind is a lot of like
Go
water
for it.
parks songs. You listen to water parks at all?
Yes.
I think that he just comes up with the coolest, most unique sounds in his stuff. So I think like a lot of the a lot of the water park songs, but specifically I'm on my way to you.
Oh
Self-sabotage.
yeah.
Self-sabotage by water
That's
parks.
a good one.
And you know
Yeah.
what's funny? My friend Andrew Goldstein, who actually wrote Gateway Drug with me in
Hmm.
LA, he's a big producer. He wrote like Black Bear's Hot Girl Bummer Anthem, and like he's Blink
Oh,
182. He
cool.
works with like everyone. And so he actually wrote
Cool.
that song with Water Parks, Self Sabotage. And so when I
I
was
didn't
there, I was
know
like,
that.
yo, when Austin did that, like, wee 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 wee, I was like, did you do that or was that him? He's like, no, that was all him. Like I was like, what are you doing, man? He's like, trust me. But yeah.
Well, again, wow. Okay, two great answers. That's awesome. I hope everyone goes and listens to all of those
Yeah.
if they need new music
Go
recs.
listen to Self Sabotage and listen to Gateway Drug. Same
Yeah.
producer. You'll hear the similarities.
I'm gonna have to
Andrew's
do that.
in
I'm gonna have
there.
to
I
do
bet he played
that.
guitar. He played guitar on mine, so I bet he played a little guitar on the Water
Mhm.
Parks record too.
Nice. Okay, and then the last one, I guess that's kind of like this. Just who are some artists or bands that you grew up listening to, and how did they inspire you?
Yeah, so the first two I would say is the Jackson Five and the Hanson Brothers.
I love that
Yeah,
answer. Oh my
when
gosh.
when they were kids, I think the Hanson brothers grew up to be not great people, but we're talking about
I
children Hanson
mean,
here.
yeah, so it's
Yeah,
fine.
yeah. So
It's
like
fine.
yeah, like Jackson 5 and Hanson. I think Bop was one of the first, not Bop, but what was it called? Middle of Nowhere was the album that Bop was on, and I
Yes.
had it on cassette. And then I bought it on CD and I had it in like my Discman. And I was like, oh, Zach is 10 years old and he's drumming. And I was 10 at the time. So I was
So
like,
I can
Dad,
do
can I
that
get my,
too.
yeah. So my dad got me a drum set for Christmas. And that's like what kicked it all off. So those were like the two earliest ones that were like, oh, these are children like me. And they're like doing this thing. And then I
Yeah.
just fell in love with Matchbox 20, Third Eye Blind, Goo Goo Dolls, Bare Naked Ladies, like that
All the
whole
good
alternative
ones.
scene, especially Third Eye Blind, who I think like was doing pop punk before pop punk was around. You know,
Yep,
they were like the
I would
precursors
say
right
so.
there. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then it wasn't until I was like maybe 13 or 14, like 2003, 2004, where someone in show choir, this girl in show choir showed me Drop Dead Gorgeous, which is like this old screamo band, and I fell in love. I was like, "This is real music! Like what?" And I remember like being on the show choir bus, and I'd flip one of my headphones out so that like people knew I was listening to screaming music. You know, I needed them to
Yeah.
know. Like,
Yep.
and then like Silverstein came in, and like I just once I found Drop Dead Gorgeous, it just opened up from there. Because before that, I had been listening to like Copeland and Reliant K. Um, but then truly, like you can hear it in my music. Like I love pop. Like I love
Hmm.
Halsey, Justin Bieber, and The Weeknd,
Oh
and
yeah.
like more recently, like 44 Phantom is one of my favorite artists. He's this
I have to
young,
check them out. I have not
yeah,
listened to
oh,
him.
young dude just writing really good pop rock music. I love pop. I
Me
really do.
too.
Like
I
catch me
do.
listening to top 40 unashamed because it's good.
Same.
It's good music.
Same. It
Yeah.
is like sometimes I feel like I don't know, really with like the past like 10 or 15 years, like pop became like a bad word. Like, oh, he's just a
Yeah.
pop artist. He's not a serious artist. But like
Hmm.
I have
I
never
love it.
shared
Yeah,
that
I love
opinion.
it. Yeah, that's I think the band Camino is one of my favorite bands right now because
That's
they
really
really have a
good.
lot of pop
Hmm.
going on in their stuff and their wordplay is unmatched. Like they're always
Yeah.
doing like numerology stuff and slipping it into their lyrics and I don't know.
Hmm.
They're very cool. So
Yeah, well, that's good. We love pop appreciation. We
we love
love
pop.
it. We do
Yeah.
not
There's no
just
pop
pop on
punk
this
without
page.
pop.
Exactly. Exactly. It's popular for a reason.
Yes. 100%.
Okay, and then just a couple of last two questions, and then we can kind of wrap this up because I won't keep you all day because I'm sure you have so many other things to do. But what's something that you've learned, I guess, recently about like either yourself or your art or life in general that's kind of like changed how you move forward and just deal with
Whew,
life?
you're hitting me with some great questions.
Thank
Uh,
you.
so much has changed that it's odd for me to even be promoting my album right now. Cause like, I'm making music videos and promoting songs about me like being heartbroken over this person where I thought my life was gonna end. And like I've just
Mhm.
since the beginning of that album when I wasn't in therapy, I was just in a real bad place and like to where I am now, like I'm healing. I'm accepting who I am at this age that I'm at. Like I'm really starting to like learn to love myself and like therapy has opened up so many doors for me and I'm reconnecting friendships that I let slip a little bit and I'm starting to travel again. And I think that I'm excited to see how that comes out in like this next era of music. I've already started
Yes.
writing some stuff that I'm just like, wow, this is like, this is not what I thought was going to come out of me, but it feels right at this point in time. And so I think that, yeah, while I'm going to be working on these 18 videos, like there's still a pull in me. Like I've got to put out new stuff and I've got to keep releasing music. So it's going to be this cool, interesting thing where like, oh, here's a song from my last album, a video for it, and here's a new single. You know, it's going to get messy. And I'm kind of in love with that idea of
I
just like,
like that.
we don't have to just stop promoting older work because newer work has arrived. And I think a
No.
lot of people think that. So
Yeah, I don't know what that is. I think social media has some to do with it, but
100%, yeah. It's
no,
like 2 weeks after a single's out. I'm like, well, that ran its course, and I'm like, I
yeah.
gotta leave that mindset behind. So bringing that forward and just being like, no, I know how to heal now. I know how to do this. I'm not romanticizing depression. Like I am a new person now, and it's going to show in my content and in my music and stuff. And I think right now I'm in this weird place where I'm kind of like scared to post a little bit because I'm in this bit of a limbo where I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing next, but I'm working on breaking that down right now. I just got to hit record, you know.
Right.
Yeah,
That's the
got to get
hardest
back in front of
part,
the
getting to
camera.
hit record. Once
Mm-hmm.
you record, it kind
Yeah.
of just goes
And
from
what's funny
there.
is I'll record like some mental health focused stuff, like especially where I'm like really in the dumps or like down. And the funny part is editing that afterwards. 'Cause you have to sit there and like I'll not be sad anymore. And I'm like editing this video. I'm like, God, I was crying, but I'm just gonna keep that. Like,
Yeah, I'm gonna be real.
yeah, editing mental health content is funny because you're like you were so vulnerable, and then you have to kind of sit down and like stare at yourself and be like, all right,
Yeah.
well,
'Cause
let's get
it's
this ready for the world to see.
yeah. Or then like if you like come back, like you say you like record it and then you wait like a week or so before you sit down and edit it and then like you're fine, you've recovered from whatever it is, you're like, man, I was so dramatic.
Yeah, and I think it's important. That's why I think it's so important to post this stuff and to talk about it because too many times like we get over it and then it just never gets talked about. So I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing about music too is like you get to put that stuff out there and then like revisit it and come back and it's like
Hmm.
those feelings still exist and something relatable to like come back to, you know.
Yeah, completely. And then my last question is what message do you hope that people take away from your story and just your journey after watching this interview?
Nothing is set in stone and you can do whatever you want if you try hard enough. And it sounds so cliche, but it's truly like 4 years ago, I was the director of marketing at a medical staffing agency, gave up on everything. And now I live in a completely different city. I live in Philly, new group of friends, in love with all of my friends. You know, I love myself. I'm in a position where I have 250,000 people following me for
Wow.
things that I always thought that
So
I
impressive.
had, but I was never validated in it. And so, yeah, I think just like taking the time to really say, I don't need to do all the stuff that I don't want to do. Like you can really shape your life and do what you want to do, take those risks. And I'm just such an advocate for anyone who's like, I'm going to go do this thing that sounds wild to everyone else, but it sounds right to me. And I will always support that 100%.
That is awesome. I feel like everyone could need to hear that at some
Yeah.
point. So that's
We,
great. I love
yeah.
that.
We can get so wrapped up in the 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And then Saturday I've
Hmm.
got this and Sunday I've got this. And your time will go way too fast. There's science behind it. Like you need new experiences to slow time down. So
Yeah.
slow time down.
Beautiful. Well, that was great. I had so much fun talking with you
Thank
today.
you for
This was
having me.
awesome. Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So, before we go, just list off your socials for people to follow,
Yeah.
whatever platforms you have.
Yeah. Find me at Is It Josh everywhere. I think on TikTok I still have an underscore because someone stole my name. So is it underscore
No.
Josh? But everywhere else it's just
Okay.
Is It Josh. I keep it nice and easy. If you want to check out my merch and things like that, it's isitjosh.com. Link to my Discord on there. My Discord is an amazing community of the nicest people ever. So definitely hop in there. Yeah, just Is It Josh everywhere. Google it and you'll find it.
Nice. So go follow Josh on all
Oh, yep.
platforms.
Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay, we're back. My internet
Okay.
just froze.
Oh, I
All
don't.
right, outro.
Outro. Okay, so be sure to go follow Josh on all the platforms. They're going to be below somewhere on the screen. Go stream a collection of short stories about the heart, and honestly, his other music too, because it's all good. And buy physical merch if you can.
Buy the hoodies.
Buy the hoodies, buy the vinyl.
100%. Thank you so much for having me.